Whatever you do, folks, don't touch JR's Dippin' Dots. But according to Fat Mac, do go see Sonic the Hedgehog in theaters now.
Possibly. I'm not saying it's a good movie.
But he is saying it's Jim Carrey's greatest comedic performance of all time.
I'm saying one of them. Yeah, I'm not going to go out and say whether this is. I think whether it's a good movie or bad movie is basically. I mean, it's always in the beholder, the viewer, but this time more than most because I think there's a lot of different ways you could judge it.
Yeah.
You can judge it as a comedy. You can judge it as a video game movie. You can judge it as a cartoon adaptation. You can judge it as an animated film. You can judge it however you want to. So that I'm not going to say one way or the other. But this is one of Jim Carrey's best comedic performances ever, I think. I loved it so much. And my son, who was like...
So does that mean you're able to rank Jim Carrey's comedic performances? Because that's something I don't think I could do. Because across the board, they're all amazing.
I think I could do that.
And they're all relatively the same, except for maybe Lloyd Christmas.
I could do that. I don't know who... Oh, Lloyd Christmas is Dumb and Dumber, right?
Yeah.
I just found out they made a sequel to that. And I'm not talking about the prequel. I'm talking about, did you know they made a sequel? Like a legit sequel with Jeff Daniels?
And it wasn't very good. It was a lot of the same jokes. I mean, it was good, but it wasn't what everybody was expecting.
That's what I heard. I watched a review with 3 different people, and they all said the same thing.
It's worth a watch.
It's good. Yeah. And it probably would be, probably feel better if you hadn't watched the first one, but nowhere near the first one. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I've never heard of this.
If you watch the first one, you appreciate the jokes more, I would assume.
I would assume, because the only thing that I remember they said was that the kid with the parakeet shows up in this one, and he has like a whole house of parakeets and stuff, and then they give him a cat, and the cat kills all the parakeets. And I was like, that's an awesome callback. I like that.
No, the callbacks that they did were very good. But I mean, even like Liar Liar and Yes Man, same character, 2 different movies, like Ace Ventura, The Mask, and now Robotnik. I figure those are all in the same boat too. I
feel like The Mask is his own character a lot, because I feel like the Mask himself, he plays as an old Hanna-Barbera cartoon kind of, or an old not Looney Tunes, but like a Hank Avery sort of cartoon. And I feel like Stanley Ipkiss, he plays as a very mild-mannered straight man, very similar to the Liar Liar before he's lying.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think the Mask one is kind of on his own. But a lot of the other ones, he does a lot of very similar things, and he does them in this one. He is very much. He doesn't feel like Jim Carrey playing Dr. Robotnik, but he doesn't feel like Dr. Robotnik played by Jim Carrey. He kind of feels like a fresh take on either one.
Yeah.
Very Jim Carrey-ish. My son was even saying, I like this Dr. Robotnik. Who's the actor, Dad? I was like, Jim Carrey. He's like, oh, yeah, I've heard of that name. Like, well, it goes to show you how old we all are, especially Jim Carrey.
Wow.
And then I sat and thought about it, and I was like, oh, yeah. Other than maybe that Dumb and Dumber movie, which I don't know when it came out.
He was in Kick-Ass too, but he didn't even like being in that.
Yeah, and he actually didn't look a lot like himself.
No.
He was in the what is it called? The not the Bandit, the one that dystopian. He was really good in that dystopian. Oh, it's a dystopian future about cannibalism.
What?
You wouldn't expect. I know you wouldn't expect that. What is that called? Oh, the God damn it! It's the something, and it starts with a B. The Bad Batch. There you go.
The Bad Batch. Huh?
It's about a dystopian future where, in America, the people that society deems are unwanted or unnecessary get banished to like southwest United States, and there's no law other than what they make, and there's like a tribe of like super free flowing kind of hippie like types, and the tribe of cannibals that just survive off of living off eating other humans and stuff. And I mean, it begins with this guy like harvesting this woman's legs and arms to cook up.
And the people who eat the vegan. The circle of life.
It's intense, and Jim Carrey plays a really good role on there. He's almost unrecognizable, and he has no speaking parts, but he's a big part of the movie.
Yes.
And it's I recommend The Bad Batch to anyone who hasn't seen it.
I want to see it. I've never even heard of it, and that's the crime.
I think it's on Netflix. I think it's on Netflix.
I
recommend it. Not Woody Harrelson. Who's the other one? Keanu Reeves is also in there towards the end.
Nice.
He's the guy that runs like the hippie town.
Makes a lot of sense.
He's like the big like corrupt guru. You know what I mean? He's corrupt. He's bad, but you know. He's talking.
And
with
all the
gal.
heroin and painting, you'd think Jim Carrey would be the one running a hippie town,
right? And towards the end of the movie, he's talking to the gal, and because she's like thinking about leaving, he's like, "You have a toilet, and when you go to the bathroom, what happens?" And she's like, "The shit leaves." And how do you think the shit leaves? The toilet takes it someplace. And how do you think the toilet takes it someplace? And she just looks at him. It's because of me. I just love that. It's because of me. Wow, we went way off the path.
Yes, we did. Hey, folks, welcome to Beef Sticks Jim Carrey Podcast.
I'm your host, James Carrey.
And I'm Jimmy Carrey.
And to start things off, I do have to give a shout-out to the beer I'm drinking. We haven't done a lot of this lately, but I'm giving a shout-out. I'm having a nice Stella Artois Belgian beer, and shout-out to Stella Artois for giving away free beer during Leap Day. If you go to your liquor store and get a 6-pack, 12-pack, or a case, today only, and hit up their website and go to the rebate section, send a picture of your receipt and the UPC, and they refund you 100% of the case, not including sales tax.
Nice.
So I'm going to enjoy my nice free Stella Artois tonight. Cut. Of course. But you can't go wrong with free beer, especially a good Stella Artois. I like a Stella Artois.
Yes. That sounds
Miller Lite was
delicious.
doing the same thing also, but then they canceled it because the brewing company that they were sending them all out of, one of the workers like murdered a coworker there just like 2 days ago. So
yeah,
like,
yep.
We're done. All right.
I'm surprised. When are you gonna have that Bud Light seltzer water?
I don't think I'm gonna do that, buddy. I mean, don't get me wrong. Post Malone digs it.
Oh, fucking too much.
That is a fun commercial.
This is gonna be the next White Claw.
It could be, but I like the commercial with the whole what is it? The Inside Out.
Yeah, knocking down the racks in the store because he's being pulled either way.
That's fun.
You guys were ultra rich. We can buy both. I'm gonna buy both.
That's a funny one.
It is good. So is the Jason Momoa Super Bowl commercial. That's another one of my tops right now.
That was fun. My favorite Super Bowl commercial gets like no love, and it was the one with the one insurance company. And you don't realize it's for that insurance company until they're done, but it's like they show all the other insurance mascots getting either like beat up or murdered or like, you know, breaks out. And my favorite is the emu. The guy wakes up, his partner wakes up, and the emu's head is in the bed, a la Godfather. And it's like, you know, Flo is getting screwed up, and the Geico lizard and everything. I love it. And at the end, it's this one insurance company talking about how they're better than the rest. Nobody gives that any love, and it's like, God, it's like the best. I loved that one. I watched it like 4 or 5 times.
I don't even know. I think I've seen it, but it's hard to say.
Yeah.
There's quite a few. I didn't watch the Super Bowl, so I didn't get in on the ground floor. I just catch whatever leftovers are still.
Well, 50% of the commercials had aired for like a month beforehand, anyways.
Oh,
they do that now. But happy leap year to everyone.
Yes.
Leap day to everyone.
Leap day of a leap year. Let's jump around, jump up, and get down.
We will, and you know what? For this week in pro wrestling history, I tried to find a leap day, a really good leap day thing, and I could not find one. There were a couple like deaths or birthdays or something stupid, nothing fun, some not important stuff. But we have to say happy birthday to Ring of Honor Pasty, because Ring of Honor turned 18 on February 23rd.
Yes. time to move out of your parents' house.
Woo woo! Yes, back in 2002 in February, Ring of Honor was born. The very first show from the Murphy Recreation Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, which now has been retroactively named The Era of Honor Begins, was kind of a born of necessity. See, the promotion was created in part from ECW going out of business, actually. It was founded by RF Video founder Rob Feinstein. RF Video filmed videos from lesser-known regional promotions, and they sold their tapes through mail and then online. But when ECW went under, the cash cow for the company at the time, and CZW, Combat Zone Wrestling, refused to deal with Feinstein, he ended up having to make up for the loss of income, so naturally he just made his own promotion. Sounds like recipe for disaster and failure.
Let's try it.
We maybe should. Feinstein later ended up leaving Ring of Honor in disgrace in March 2004 after he was busted for allegedly soliciting sex with a minor. The incident would abruptly end Ring of Honor's working relationship with TNA, which at the time was a big deal because TNA was a bigger name than Ring of Honor, even though they had started at the same time. Within a year, Kerry Silkin would have full ownership of the company, and under Silkin, the promotion got its first TV and pay-per-view deals. In May 2011, broadcast carrier Sinclair Broadcast Group would not only acquire the TV rights to Ring of Honor, but buy the whole company. Ring of Honor, Pasty, has had its ups and downs through the years. We can all agree to that. Oh, yeah. But it's considered one of the largest wrestling promotions in the United States and is on course to make it to 2 decades of honor, and even more, I'm assuming. That's longer than most companies ever get.
That's awesome. It really makes me feel old because I can still remember when Ring of Honor came through my high school gym.
Right?
And that was like a year or two after I got out of high school. Like, fuck.
And now they're almost 2 decades old.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And basically, the Era of Honor Begins, the very first show that they put on, the very first card. It has a mixture of veterans at the time, wrestlers who are currently household names nowadays, and guys you'd never heard of and went nowhere, which you have to have them. And this right here was the lineup of that very first show. We seen the Hit Squad, which was Mafia, who we know as Dan Moff, and Monster Mac, who defeated the Christopher Street Connection, Buff E and Mace Mendoza.
Nobody named Christopher.
No. We also seen the Amazing Red defeat Jay Briscoe.
There you go. I know those names both.
Xavier defeated Scoot Andrews. Scoot. The Boogie Knights, which was Mike Torben and Danny Drake, defeated the Natural Born Sinners, consisted of Homicide and Boogaloo by DQ. Quiet Storm defeated the Amazing Red, Brian XL, Chris Divine, Jose Maximo, and Joel Maximo in an ultimate aerial elimination match.
Are all pinfalls and submissions only effective in midair?
It's ultimate aerial, buddy, and it's elimination. Of note, Mikey Whipwreck was the special referee for that. We've seen Prince Nana of the Future Embassy defeat Towelboy. I did a little research into Towelboy. I put a little research into a lot of these people because I didn't recognize a lot of the names, but I put some research into Towelboy. Towelboy literally was a former ring crew member of ECW. Who was like just like an amateur wrestler, and yeah, exactly. He didn't
That's your gimmick.
Do much, but it's Vince McMahon has done more with less. So we also seen Spanky, who a lot of you know as Brian Kendrick.
Yes.
And Ike Haika, I think it is Loa, who I couldn't find anything on him. And I don't know.
That sounds right.
He's related to the Tongas or nothing, but he defeated Michael Shane, who is better known as Matt Bentley in TNA's X Division, and Oz. And no, we're not talking Kevin Nash retreading his shitty WCW gimmick, Oz. Just a guy named Oz. Then we had Super Crazy defeat Eddie Guerrero to win the IWA Intercontinental Championship. That had to be a badass match.
Yeah.
And main eventing...
Was that before Eddie went... No?